Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. Hola, señorita.
Hola, señora.
Oh, golly, what a bitch.
¿Estás casada?
Pues sí, güey, pero como quiera. ¿Por qué le duele a uno que le digan señora?
And I don't think in English it sounds as bad because for everything I'm like, yes, ma'am, but it's just me sale. I don't mean it because you're like a señora, you know? Pero en español se oye peor.
Like in español, if you say señora, it's like you're talking to my mother-in-law, you know?
Yeah, or like alguien que está casada, ¿no? Like señora vibes.
I don't know. I don't think that I want to be called señora.
Ma'am is mejor, ¿no?
No.
Because you teach your kids
yes,
answer
ma'am.
you yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
I think that's a Texan thing because everywhere, like when we go places, people don't say yes ma'am like we do.
Oh.
Or maybe a southern thing.
Yeah. No, but yeah, tú lo prefieres que te digan ma'am. No, pero es señora ma'am.
Señoras ma'am. También. Sometimes cuando voy a la store, they'll be like, yeah, like the little kids will be like, yes ma'am. And I'm like, but then I'm like,
I answer like that a lot. Yes ma'am.
Yes ma'am.
Yes,
I say yes ma'am.
No, I'll be like, yes ma'am.
Yeah.
You got it.
You got it. I got you.
I got you.
Anyways, welcome to Cafecito and Crime. Mm-hmm. Today, we are going to be discussing a case that Estela is bringing to us. So what do you have for us?
Yes. So today's case, we are... Wait, ¿no tienes nada que te pasó esta semana?
Déjame te cuento. Si algo me pasó. So today, ¿qué creen? Me quedé dormida.
Ajá.
So me levanté a las 8:38. Now, I have 2 alarms, pero no sé por qué las 2 alarms were off.
Yeah, because she told me that her she was dreaming about demons y que el diablo le apagó la alarm.
Sí, el diablo apagó la alarm because yo tengo 2 alarmas and there's no way that they both were off, which is fine. I get that. You know, the diablo is trying to get with me, you know, whatever. But joke's on you, motherfucker, because I don't want to go to work anyway. So then I got up, right? And then I was like, fuck. And so I started getting dressed and then I texted my manager, hey, I'm running late. I'm sorry. And then I called my coworker and then I was like, I remember that I was like so asleep that even she was like, when you called me, you sounded drunk.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, bitch, I was asleep.
I was still half dreaming.
She was like, bitch, I thought you weren't coming in. And I was like, I'm on my way. So then I don't live down the street from my house. Like,
yeah.
I mean, from my job, I live really far. So I voice. So then next thing you know, today was the last day of one of our doctors. She's retiring. Qué buena pinche onda, dude. Imagine retiring. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to go back to work again.
Oh, yeah.
That just sounds amazing. Anyway, so I went and they were like, hey, can you bring a cake? So dije, yeah, no tenía gas. Me paré por el cake. Y de una vez dije yo, ¿sabes qué?
I want coffee.
I want coffee. So me paré al pinche Dutch Bros. Me compré un cafecito. Y se tardaron un chingo. Y luego... And you know what I was reading online? Que Dutch Bros, their whole system is that they have to talk to you. Like, you know how they're always like so talkative at the window?
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to Chick-fil-A and they say, my pleasure. Like, they have to do that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. And so, no wonder I was like, what the fuck is this bitch? Like, asking me my damn business, this shit. I'm like, wait a minute now. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, but you talk to anybody. So tú le sigues la corriente.
Pues sí,
yeah.
yo. Pero
in
like
your mind,
other people.
In your mind,
like,
you were like...
Bitch, like, in the lady that was in front of me, like, the girl was like half hanging out of the window.
Like they were having a deep convo?
Yeah, like she was like into her. Like she knew her.
That's good.
But
the last time that we went, the guy was like that too, remember?
Yeah.
And when they were saying, you know, when are you guys going to make they were talking about the other Dutch Bros that they're going to open a location that's a little bit closer to us. So
sí, pero por eso te digo que I don't know if
and
it
that
was,
you were
I'm
like, and
on TikTok.
And that he was, yeah, you probably did.
Because you know, I learned everything on TikTok. Like TikTok is my encyclopedia.
It's your Google.
And so I was like, I had no idea that was a thing.
I didn't know either.
I had no idea.
They take your order like the people outside of Chick-fil-A take your order. Like you don't drive up to the window.
No,
like there's people at the line.
No, but over here at the one that I go to, sometimes if there's not a lot of people, you go to the window.
Straight to the window, yeah.
And it was just
into the wall.
It was into the wall. And yeah, you know what drips down my balls. Anyway, so then
and the seat, yeah.
And so then next thing you know, I made it. Girl, I didn't get to work till 10.
You walked in así con the cake and the coffee.
The cake and the coffee, my backpack, and I was like ready to work. Nadie me dijo nada. By the time I get there, everybody was like, what the fuck is wrong? Bruh, don't ask. It's just
I am here.
I am here, and I fought the demon. Bro, the demon was on my phone, bro. Like the demon was trying to take my phone, and my husband my husband inside of the actual dream was like, "Did you see like everybody kept asking me, did you see him? Did you see him?" And I kept saying, "I'm not scared. No le tengo miedo.
Yeah.
Like I'm not scared of him. He's not gonna hurt me. Él no me va a hacer nada." Like I kept saying that.
Yeah.
And so then somebody asked me, "Do you see the demon? He's standing there." I'm like, "I'm not scared of him." Like I was about to fight this motherfucker.
You're like, come at me, bro. Throw hands.
Let's throw some hands. So then luego me levanté and I was late. So the demon turned off the fucking.
Is that what you told him at work?
Yeah, but they didn't believe me.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried.
So
but yeah, a mí todo me pasa. You know that.
Yeah.
I could keep going. We can have a whole ass
episode
just
about
for
that.
que me pasa a mí.
Yeah.
If we want to. But, today we're going to move on. So where are we going today, sister?
Okay, so now that Barbie has fought the demons and she made it to work.
The demons made it to work. And I'm back from work now.
Yes. For today's case, we're going to Claymore in New South Wales, Australia.
You're always going to the Down Under. We've been to Down Under before. Yeah. So if you'd like to listen to where? Claymore, Australia.
If you want to go with us.
Oh, if you want to go with us, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
That was unnecessary. Okay.
Now, this fun, random, interesting fact, it's more like history involving.
But to you, it's fun, more random, and you love all that shit.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's not like, I wouldn't necessarily call it, oh, this is fun. It's more like historic.
Oh, wow. Pues vamos a ver.
Pues que está bien chiquito, de por sí ya no había ¿qué más puede encontrar, you know?
Girl, I know. I've been there. I've been there where I'm like looking, girl.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
It was so bad. Last episode, it was so bad that I couldn't find shit. I had to like read a story about what happened because no encontraba nada.
Yeah. Now, the name for the place, Claymore, was not the original name that they wanted for the area. It was actually going to be called Badgeley.
Badgeley?
Yes. But it was decided by the city of Campbelltown to scrap the idea because according to livinginclaymore.com...
so you can't read it if you don't live there?
It's actually livinginclaymore.wordpress.com.
Wow.
See.
Okay, I see you, girl.
Now that area was actually going to be like housing, and they just decided that that name wouldn't necessarily go with the housing that was going to be built in that area.
Is it that deep though?
Wait, hold on. So they decided to go with the name Claymore. De por sí, because I mean, some of them thought that vaguely later will turn like into an insult. Like vaguely.
It was with the V?
No, it's with the B.
Pues eso, Badgeley.
With the B de burro.
Sí, pues.
But it sounds like...
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So...
it's like naming your child. No le vas a poner así porque se van a reír de él.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, where did the name Claymore come from? Well, es que hay pedo behind it, let me tell you. The Claymore area, según, quote unquote, Claymore area had a farm. Mm-hmm. And it was sold over the years since the 1920s up until the 1960s. And the owner at that time in the 60s, he went, I don't know if it was his last name, it was Vanderbilt. And he named his property Claymore after...
Wow. Not after.
After... swords used by the Scottish Highlanders, which were made out of claymore. And then he liked those swords so much that he put 3 on the gate leading to the property.
Wow.
And then the commission saw the swords and just thought they looked cool.
Real House of Dragons and shit,
No.
Real, what is the other one con los
King
goats?
Arthur?
No, GOT, ¿cómo se llama?
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones?
No, porque no hay dragons.
No, I'm talking about the swords. Wait.
No, but the swords are in King Arthur.
Okay, King Arthur, pues.
¿Tú sabes cómo se llama la sword?
The Sword of Life. No. Okay.
Anywho.
No sé, güey. ¿Cómo se llama?
I don't know. The name is escaping me right now. Hold on.
The name is escaping you?
Yes, the name of the sword.
Isn't it Escalade or Escandalade or ¿cómo no?
Camelot?
Camelot? No sé. Yo no sé.
King Arthur's sword. Ah. And I just saw an episode of Charm on the sword. Excalibur. Duh.
That's what I said.
No es cierto, you said Camelot.
And then I said Scramalot.
Anyways, now, like I said, the commission thought that the swords look cool, so they decided to name the area Claymore. Pero there was people that were upset of that name because there was actually an older property besides that Claymore area property, which was built in the 1850s. So it had been there way longer. And that property was called Glenroy Hempstead. And it was used like as a dairy farm from 1929 up until the 60s. And it was run by a veteran, like a war veteran called Charles McClelland and his wife. And it was actually sold to the commission in the 60s. So Charles's son, Alan, he was like really upset that the area wasn't called Glenroy instead of Claymore, because Glenroy was more synonymous with the area that was.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's why it's called Claymore, because they saw some swords on a fence.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Stay out! You gotta go on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
I mean, I think that a lot of the things that are named around here or around the world are probably just random ass shit, but we don't think
somebody
that
thought
way.
it was
yeah,
cool.
They're like, oh, that's cool. Let's just name that shit like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyways, but okay. Now this case is about a child serial killer.
Okay.
So,
Another one? I feel like there was another child serial killer over there, right?
yeah. No.
No? That was in Britain.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
CC. Now, obviously very sad case, if you don't want to listen to it, totally understand. We don't really go into detail because what she kills kids, and that's like horrible and horrific and tragic, but the manner that she does it is not gruesome. So it's not like, she's cutting them up or anything like that.
Or
so,
eating them and shit.
yeah, right. So like if you still, don't want to listen,
Cool.
we totally
We'll
understand.
see.
But
we'll talk to you in another one.
yeah. Now, at the center of this case, which this case is about Helen Patricia Moore and her family, the Moore family in the late 1970s and the beginning of the 80s consisted of Jessie Moore, que era la mamá, John Moore, el stepdad de Helen, and 5 kids. Okay. Now, Helen had kids with her first husband. Tenía 2 sons, and I think Helen también era de su first husband.
Okay.
Okay. Now they had, Jesse con John, they had 2 sons, and the boys' names are Peter and Andrew, who are major parts of this case. Now, in some sources, Andrew and Peter are referred to Helen as her half-brothers, and in other sources, they're called her stepbrothers. Or like there's never a clear answer if they're her half-brothers or stepbrothers, but just know that I'm just going to call them her brothers. And then, like I just said, Peter and Andrew were John's sons. Like they were his and Jesse's together. Now, the family lived in Claymore, which is a suburb of Sydney, Australia. And it is known as a needy and underprivileged area with high crime rate. People knew it was a rough area to live in, and an article in the Sydney Morning Herald in 1980 referred to it as, quote, a stark pocket of loneliness and frustration.
Not the pocket of loneliness.
And wait, hold on. And Terry Tierney, I think that's how you say his last name, was a district officer with the Department of Youth and Community Service in Campbelltown, said, quote, about Claymore. Many of the people there lead lonely and unhappy lives.
Wow.
Yeah. At the time of today's case, like in the late 1970s, it was like a newer community. Like all these like base community homes were being built.
Yeah.
So it was just very new. It was barely up and coming, but still.
So they were trying to make it a better.
But it was bad anyway.
Oh.
Like people had lived there barely, like for a couple of years maybe, but it was already like a bad area. It was like very underprivileged, Just very like
were they
low
a pocket
income
of sad people? I mean, shit.
It was like a very low income area.
I'd be pissed if they would be like, "You're from the pocket of sad people." I'd be like, "No, I'm not." I rephrase that.
Yeah. Now, according to Jessie, she knew that something was off with Helen since she was little, since she was 18 months old.
I mean, Helen, that name, it just scares me sometimes.
Like later, she told the Sun Herald that that Helen was very hard to communicate with and showed a lot of destructive behavior, such as like tearing up her possessions and just, destroying them and just like being
Was she
estética.
upset? Like, ¿estaba enojada? ¿O por qué hacía eso?
No sé. And she later referred to her like she would be like the perfect daughter or a nightmare. Like in between.
I can relate to that.
But Helen wasn't horrible all the time. No, she had like phases where she was described as the ideal daughter, like I just said. As she grew up, she didn't drink or smoke like the other kids her age did in that area, you know? And she also didn't make friends easily. She was shy. And actually, she was really smart. Like her IQ was above average.
So, ¿como cuántos años tenía?
Like as she was growing up, like her teens.
In her teens.
In her
Okay,
teens,
okay,
yes. She also wasn't outwardly emotional, but she was with her little brother, Andrew. And they were actually super close. She loved spending time with him and watching him. And she was kind of like his second mom, I guess you can say.
Okay.
Now, Jessie was able to tell cuando Helen was like a bad phase was coming on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there was one specific incident that was kind of like what broke the camel's back as far as like her erratic behavior. And then after that incident, Jessie knew that it was time to take Helen to see a doctor.
Okay. What did Helen do?
Now, this is what happened. In 1976, when Helen was either 13 or 14, she fought with one of her brothers. And not sure exactly which one. I don't know what happened. I think they were playing some sort of game. Y esta se encabronó y se enojó. And fue, and she grabbed him by the hair and yanked a handful of hair.
Like actual hair?
Like actual hair de su hermano. Y con todo y scalp. Like he was bleeding.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How fucking hard would she have been pulling, bitch?
How mad were you, bro?
No, but how? How was that even, like, the rage?
Exactly. And she's 13, 14.
Wow.
So that's when Jessie was like, dude, let's go to the...
Yeah,
we gotta go.
We gotta go.
And then she always knew, like, she was trying to do the right thing, you know? Like, hey,
dejó el hermano pelón a la verga? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Now, she got taken to the doctor, a psychiatric doctor. And, you know, they ran tests on her and did assessments. And according to this doctor, he determined that she was quite normal.
What?
For her age.
How are you quite normal?
And she was a well-adjusted teenager. And as he was telling Jessie these things, you know, that there was nothing wrong with her. And he even patted her on the head and stuff.
Girl.
Because there was nothing wrong with her.
Oh, she's chilling.
Yeah. But...
You just tore the fucking hair out of your brother con todo pinche carne. And you're fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the doctor, he did, though, suggest that somebody that was going through something wasn't Helen, that it was Jessie.
Oh, okay.
And he prescribed her some Valium.
Wow, para que se calmara.
Yeah.
So, para que dejara que la hija sacara pinches greñas. Okay.
Yeah. Now, Jessie, like, she thought to herself, she's like, you know, maybe I'm being neurotic. Like, she was like, maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong. And, you know, if the doctor's telling me that she's fine and he's a doctor and I'm the one with the issue, she was just kind of like, she tried to play down her feelings about her daughter, like knowing that there was something wrong with her. She was like, well, no, like maybe it is just me. Maybe I'm just stressed. You know, I'm going through a lot. But, you know, she'd find out how right she was about her daughter.
Shit.
Now, at this point, we're in 1979. She's 16, 17, Helen. And she decided to make extra cash by babysitting. You know, she liked being around kids. She liked being around children.
I would not leave my child with her.
And according to Jessie, esta Helen at one time wanted to be like a special needs teacher or handicapped youngsters, as she was quoted.
So she wanted to be involved with children.
Yes.
Okay, well maybe children will make her.
So she decided to advertise her babysitting services in the community center's bulletin board. And remember, the community was new, so if you needed something, that's where you would like go and advertise yourself or request services or whatever. So, you know, she did get contacted to babysit children. Now, tragedy struck the Moore family when on March 1st, 1979, and there's another thing about Andrew. Some sources refer to him as 2 years. Other sources as 14 months. So quién sabe, but he was a baby. Andrew was found dead in his crib.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It was later determined that he died of SIDS or sudden infant death syndrome. At the time, they would call it cot death.
Caught dead.
Yeah. And it was very rare for it to happen to a 2-year-old. Because it usually happens when the baby is months, not 2.
Yeah, when the baby is like just born.
Yeah, they say from 2 to 6 months or something like that. Now, it's rare for it to happen to a 2-year-old, but it can happen. And like the death of Andrew like really hit Helen hard. Like she took it very hard, and it's like she just fell apart. And I mean, the rest of the family, of course. Jesse goes on to say that the day that they buried Andrew, que esta Helen was just like so heartbroken that she even broke up with her boyfriend that she was dating at the time and that she referred to as her first love. So she was just like
she was just devastated.
She was out of it, yeah.
What the heck?
Now, the possibility of being around children, like I just said, always made her feel better. So to kind of just make her, cheer her up, she 2 months later, on May 19th, 1979, she decided to accept the request to babysit her 16-month-old cousin, Suzanne Louise McIntosh. At the end of the night, Suzanne was sleeping when her parents arrived. They wouldn't realize that she was dead until the following morning.
Oh shit, she was dead.
When they went to check on her, and she wouldn't wake up.
Holy shit.
Her death was determined to be SIDS 2. And when she found out, or she was alerted that baby Suzanne had passed away, she said that she felt unpleasant.
Yeah. Moms know, dude.
Yeah.
We know our children.
Which that feeling was that Helen could have been involved. Now, Jesse confronted Helen.
Shit.
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah. And straight up asked her if she had anything to do with it. Y Helen se puso así toda histérica and denied it. Denied it. Right, exactamente.
I could have done something.
So Jesse was like, I guess, okay, I guess you're telling me that you didn't do it. So, okay.
I believe you.
Yeah. Now, the year 1979 continued to be rough. And I mean a rough year for the Moore family. Not only had they already, had 2 baby deaths in the family, Andrew and then the cousin. But later that year, John, the dad, or stepdad to Helen, suffered a severe stroke that almost killed him.
Oh, shit.
Jesse suffered an advanced ectopic pregnancy and had to be taken to the hospital.
What the heck? All of this.
Peter.
It sounds like me. Todo le pasa?
Peter fell down and broke his arm.
Oh, wow.
And 4 days before Christmas, their house caught fire.
What the hell?
Yes.
Oh, Angie girl.
And I think I read somewhere that the home was uninsured. I mean, well, they lived in these, homes, like built homes, like apartment complexes, kind of. Yeah. So, ay, pobre familia, necesitaban una limpia.
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
But it seemed that misfortune didn't only follow the Moore family, at least in the area, in the town of Claymore. It seemed like it was also following kids in town. And by misfortune, I really mean Helen, She was a misfortune.
Dang.
As far as the kids go. On January 16th, 1980, Helen was babysitting a one-year-old baby boy named Vaughn Robert Nicholson. And when she heard noises coming from his room, she ran and saw that he was having convulsions. So she called the neighbors, and the neighbors called the police and emergency services. And Vaughn was rushed to the hospital where he survived.
Good.
So, no le pasó
good.
nada.
Okay.
The doctors later told baby Vaughn's family that the seizure was actually natural and that it was rare, but it was natural, that it happened to him. But Jessie.
No, she knew, man.
When she first heard the news that Vaughn was in the hospital and that Helen had recently just babysat him or was babysitting him.
Yeah, at the time.
She thought that, again, that she had done something. So she decided to confront her again.
Dang.
Y le gritó a Helen, like she was screaming at her, asking her about baby Vaughn, and Helen responded by telling her that porque siempre le echaba la culpa when something went wrong. Like, why had it always had to be her fault? And when the news came out that he had suffered a seizure and that it was a natural seizure, according to what the doctors had said, Jessie was like, oh shit, pues entonces no fue ella. I guess I need to apologize to my daughter. Y le pidió perdón and shit, and then they were cool, Not very much time later, Jessie would confront Helen again.
Damn.
Due to another child ending up at the hospital that she had also been watching or babysitting.
That's too much, bro. Like, is she even waiting in between deaths? Or like in between she would attempt the death? Like, se esperaba unos semanas or era one after another? Like, shit.
Just 2 weeks later, On February 1st, Helen was babysitting 2-year-old Aaron William Crocker when she had to call the ambulance because as she had checked up on him, porque él estaba dormido, she realized that he wasn't breathing.
Girl.
Now, Aaron, of course, was taken to the hospital, and he was actually in a coma for 2 weeks.
Pobrecito.
And they said a deep coma. So I don't know if it was medically induced or no. If he wasn't breathing, then you go into a coma. Yeah. And I guess after he came out of the coma, he was actually still had to stay in the hospital for another 6 weeks. And while he would initially survive, he was left significantly impaired.
Oh.
He was left blind and unable to walk.
Damn.
And several years later, he would actually die from complications
Pobrecito.
of I guess
whatever happened
to him that night. Yeah. I don't know how old he was, but just know that like estaba chiquito todavía. Again, the same thing, la misma cantaleta. Jesse confronted Helen. And like hasta la andaba sacudiendo, güey.
Like I would have been like, you're not gonna see another child in your whole fucking life again. Like that's how I would be, and I'd be like, no, don't call her. I see, you know, because I'd be like, no, because if she knew, dude. Yeah, she knew.
Yeah, but I think like as a mom, like I guess to come to the realization that it's your daughter doing that.
No, it's not that hard.
No, but do you like yeah, you can. Like you can suspect it and you ask her and she's telling you no. Do you tell yourself, okay, pues me está diciendo que no, how am I going to prove it otherwise?
No, not me. I would be like, no, I believe that it's you. So just for now, just stop. You know, even if it is you or not, or you're telling me no, pero I wouldn't believe her. I'm sorry. I would be like, no, you're not touching. No le hablen, eh? No le vayan a hablar que vaya a cuidar.
Just like pull down her, like her services.
No. Nobody can ask for services. You're not going. To be honest, because it's like, if she knew, dude, she knew that she was doing something.
Call the Better Bureau.
Yeah, I'm going to call the Better the BBS or services, or I don't give a fuck who I'm going to call. But I'm going to call somebody and tell them that you are not allowed to take your children. That would be me personally. It's not that hard. If you know what kind of child you have, you can see them, dude.
I mean, she
no me va a hacer pendeja,
no, pues
you know?
tampoco ella no se estaba haciendo pendeja because she would confront her.
She would confront her, pero she would be like, no, you're not gonna, no, you're not taking care of no more kids.
Yeah. Again, Helen denied. Lloraba también lo mismo, porque me está echando la culpa, yo no hice nada, you know. And Jesse, with no proof, couldn't really do much about it. La Helen continued her babysitting duties or services. On February 24th, 1980, she was babysitting 2-year-old Rachel Ann Hay. Rachel Ann Hay was found dead in her crib, and then it was determined that she too died from SIDS. But it was after one specific death on March 31st of 1980.
So siguió.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That Jesse knew for sure that it was Helen who had done something that had something to do with all the deaths of these children. And what happened, the final death would actually put an end to Helen watching any more fucking kids.
Yeah, you are not allowed to watch fucking kids. That
death was the death of Peter Moore, Helen's 7-year-old brother, who died under Helen's care.
No.
That
You're
day,
going to fucking jail, bitch.
That day, Helen called her mom, who was at work, early in the morning and told her that she needed to get home because something had happened to Peter y ella no sabía qué era. When Jesse got home, and I think it was both Jesse and John that rushed home, they found Peter at the bottom of the staircase, motionless. Tirado. Later, when the Moores were being driven to the police station after identifying Peter's body at the hospital, Jesse says that Helen was sitting next to her in the back seat and that John was in the front seat. And that she looked over and she saw that Helen had like scratches on her arms. And they had just recently, like I just said, gone to identify Peter's body. And that when she saw him, that he had scratches like on his nose and under his eyes. And that she said that when she saw them on Helen's arm,
she knew.
She said that she just knew, like, it's like everything just 100% clicked for her in her mind. She was like, it's her. Like, she did it. Helen was arrested that day.
Yeah?
That day, because it was determined that Peter had died from asphyxiation.
Oh, bitch.
Now, Helen didn't hold back in telling the police that she had done it. Soltó toda la sopa.
Oh, pues she's like, pues quieren saber, ahorita les voy a decir.
Yeah. She not only, talked to them about killing Peter, but also Suzanne and Rachel.
Wow.
And attempting to kill Aaron and Vaughn. Regarding Peter's death, she said that on Monday, which was the day that it happened, on the 31st, early in the morning, he was watching TV, and she came up behind him and put her hands over his nose and his mouth. He broke free, and he tried to run to the front door, but she caught up to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And held him down for like 4 minutes until she suffocated him.
Wow.
She then threw his body down the stairs.
Oh.
Y se fue a bañar.
Wow.
And then she called the ambulance and her parents.
She needed a shower, Yeah.
She needed to wash away her sins.
That was not going to help, dude.
As for Suzanne, she said that she was babysitting her. And when Suzanne estaba dormida, she went to her crib and went and put her hands on the baby's mouth and nose, otra vez. And she said that she had done it because she was upset that her baby brother Andrew had died. And she didn't see why other children should be alive if he wasn't.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
And putting, like, that's how she would kill them. That was like her MO. She would put her hands over their mouths and their nose until they suffocated. And it was in the same circumstances for the murder, like I just said, of Rachel and the attempted murders of Aaron and Vaughn. Now, on the night that she was with Aaron, she did the same thing, went up to him and put her hands over his mouth and nose. And when she thought that he had suffocated or died, se fue a sentar a la sala and she was watching TV.
Oh. So she was like, ya lo maté, ya me voy a acostar.
But then she heard him cry.
Oh.
And that's when she, went and got the neighbors and then,
Se espantó.
Se
Ha de haber
espantó.
dicho, oh shit, no lo maté bien.
But that's the thing. Like, why? The thing is, like, okay, why didn't you try and go and kill him again?
Because it was her first kills. She wasn't like...
It wasn't her first kill, though.
No, it wasn't her first one, but it was one of the first ones.
To survive.
So she freaked out. Like, she was like, oh shit, what am I going to do?
No, Vaughn had gone first. And Vaughn is the one that... I guess she decided that after Vaughn, like, hey, like... If he cries, then I guess I just call the ambulance.
Yeah, like...
Porque a Vaughn no le pasó nada. El que quedó ciego and unable to walk was Aaron.
Por eso te digo, pero lo que pasa es que think about it. By this time, she's gotten like progressively more aggressive to killing them, right? Mm-hmm. So then cuando este niño lloró, it freaked her out. She was like, oh shit, this is not supposed to happen. And then she ran to go get help. You know what I mean? I think she wasn't prepared for that.
But this is the second one that this happened to.
Por eso te digo, o sea, she probably freaked out because she was kind of like, oh shit, I no lo maté bien or something. And then now the other one, she was like, I need to make sure that they're dead. You know what I mean? Even if she doesn't kill them good enough, like she would be like making sure that they were dead, I guess. I don't know.
No, because like they're in between. Like in between, uno se muere, el otro sobrevive. Uno se muere y el otro sobrevive.
Or maybe nada más quería to get that out of her system. I don't know.
I guess she's like, okay, I guess I just tried once, and if it happens,
works,
it
si
works.
No, pues no. You know?
That's weird.
That's really weird. That's like if you try
because if you
playing Legos and shit. Like, this is not Legos. You're killing somebody.
Yeah.
This is somebody's baby.
Yeah. No, this is a whole ass person.
Like a whole ass person, yeah.
I just thought that was weird that if she heard them cry, she wouldn't try to actually kill. I mean, good thing that she didn't,
no,
right?
Yeah, good thing.
But like, that's weird that she didn't try to
I guess she was like, okay, I'm going to do it one time. Y si no se mueren con esta, entonces ya, I'm not going to try again.
Like, it's fine. I'll try again.
I'll try again, or I'll try with another kid, unfortunately.
That's so weird. I couldn't, like, that doesn't make sense in my mind, and I'm sure it doesn't. It's not supposed to.
No, it's not going to, because, those people have some,
stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, the same for Vaughn. She left him when she thought he was dead. She was in a different part of the house, and when she heard him make noise, and she ran and called the neighbors, and he was rushed to the hospital. But he's the one that was fine. Que no le pasó nada. Like, he's the only one that came out unscathed.
Pero I think the other one, the one that was really sick, was because he was supposed to die. Like, he didn't.
Yeah, he barely made it.
Yeah,
quedó bien, and he just ended up dying later because of her bitch ass.
Yeah.
Now, when asked why she kept on killing them, at first because Suzanne said that, Andrew had just passed, and she was like, well, if he died, why do other kids get to live? So that's like, I wonder if that was like her overall main motive. And then the rest of them, she just continued to kill them just to kill them. And that's still being a part of it, because when they asked her why she continued to kill the rest of the children, she just said because she wanted to.
Oh, you make that decision. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Now, she was charged on April 1st, 1980 with the murders of her brother, of her 7-year-old brother, Peter Moore, her cousin, 16-month-old Suzanne McIntosh, and 2-year-old Rachel Hay. She didn't enter a plea, but her lawyer requested bail.
What?
Yeah. It was denied.
Good.
And I think Mr. Hyatt, I think he was the Supreme Magistrate, he said, quote, for the protection of the community.
Yeah,
quote,
and he's...
And the children's.
You're right. And don't be trying to get her for fucking anybody to take care of your kids anymore.
Now, her second hearing was scheduled on April 9th, but it was actually ended up, and in the morning, it was supposed to be in the morning, but ended up being delayed for hours because Helen collapsed in her cell when they went to go look for her. She estaba desmayada.
Oh, se tiró.
Yeah. And she had to be rushed to the hospital where she was treated for a nervous collapse. So I'm assuming anxiety, maybe?
Yeah.
Like a panic attack, maybe, and dehydration.
Yeah, because she was fucking scared. She knew what the fuck was going on. Pero ¿por qué no pensaste en eso before they're killing these little babies?
Now, it wasn't postponed. It wasn't canceled. It was just postponed. So they treated her as in the hospital. And then they're like,
bring your ass back
to the court. Yeah. And it started 4 hours later, the hearing at 2:10. Helen was escorted into the courtroom where the charges were read out loud, along with 3 added new ones.
Oh, what?
The attempted murders of Vaughn Nicholson and Aaron Crocker, and a new murder charge. The murder of her youngest brother, Andrew Moore, making it a total of 6 charges against the 18-year-old Helen Moore.
Wow.
Now, the murder charge for Andrew was later dropped since they didn't think that they had enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she had actually murdered him.
But he died of asphyxiation.
SIDS. They just left it as, it was always just SIDS.
Her younger brother.
The first one, Andrew.
Yeah, the first one. So they think that she did it?
They thought that she did it. But again, they ended up saying like his death was always just ruled a natural death. So that's why they had to drop the charge because they couldn't prove it. They didn't have any.
Yeah, the body was already gone and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they couldn't prove it. And when she was like talking to the police, she admitted to all of them. She never admitted to Andrew. Like
yeah, she never said that.
Yeah,
it was
she never
her.
said that she had killed Andrew. Now, during her trial, which lasted a whole 5 days, Helen pleaded not guilty, and her defense was insanity.
Oh,
if she was found guilty, it would be on manslaughter and attempted murder. Now, she did give a statement during the trial and said that she was sorry for what she had done and didn't know why she did it, and that she loved children and loved spending time with them and didn't know what happened to make her do the things that she did.
Fuck all of that shit. Yes. No.
Now, the defense called to the stand various psychologists and psychiatrists, and they testified after tests and assessments were done on Helen. A specific psychologist named Dr. Taylor stated that she was borderline schizophrenic and was sometimes unsure of reality, didn't know what she was doing, and hallucinated. A psychiatrist named Dr. Barclay stated that when Helen's schizophrenia went, quote, far over the borderline and that she did not know what she was doing when she committed the last 4 offenses. That the death of Andrew really affected her and she couldn't see past it. So much so that she had also tried to commit suicide.
That was never mentioned.
Yeah, but it was like before she had killed anybody.
I was about to say, yeah.
But when they get talking and everything, te sacan toda la sopa and stuff. But not only did the death of Andrew affect her, according to Dr. Taylor, but also the fact that she had been sexually interfered with. That's how they mentioned it in the newspapers at the time. Or, she was sexually assaulted by her uncle. And it had been taking place since she was 8.
What?
And continued daily, which only stopped when Suzanne died.
Oh.
That uncle was William McIntosh, Suzanne's father.
Yeah.
Helen's uncle. But William McIntosh, he always denied all the allegations.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course he's going to deny. I believe her. I do believe that could happen. Which makes sense, but then why keep killing?
Because it was also part of Andrew,
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. He always just denied the allegations. He's like, no.
I honestly, sometimes, it's hard. Because you don't know.
Because bad things can happen to her that make her to do all these other bad things,
of course. Trauma and stuff.
Right. But it's and I know in these sort of situations, she's killing children. Like, how do you believe what she said? Like, how can you believe that, that's why she did it? Is it she's saying it just to get out of being found guilty?
But she's never lied.
Right.
She's never lied.
Yeah. She said that she
the
did
truth. She's like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
So why would she lie then?
About this.
Yeah.
Right. Now, another psychiatrist, Dr. Schmalzbach, I think is how you pronounce his name, testified in court that his assessment of Helen suggested that, quote, although that she had an abnormality of the mind, she did not have a mental illness that would make her not responsible for her actions.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Crown prosecutor, Mr. Gibson, added to that statement by pointing out that Helen knew when to commit the murders, when she was alone with the babies.
Yeah.
And she also knew to cover her tracks.
Yeah.
So she knew what she was doing up until what happened to Peter. No sé si le ganó las ganas, or I don't know if her anger got out of control, because if your little brother is just watching fucking TV, what does he make you do so you can come up behind him
and kill him?
Yeah. And he was 7. He wasn't a toddler. So now at the end of the trial, it took the jury 2 hours to find Helen Patricia Moore guilty, and she was sentenced to 3 life sentences for the murders, plus 10 years each for the attempted murders.
Shit.
But after a review in 1993, her sentence was reduced to 13 years and 9 months, which she had already served.
Wow.
And so she was released on parole.
That's fucked up.
A condition of her parole was that she not be involved in anything that had to do with children. However, Helen gave birth to a daughter about 2 years into her parole.
Huh?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
So the courts, they were like, How do you handle that? Do you take the baby away, or do you let her keep the baby, right? But they decided to place her under 24-hour surveillance 7 days a week with her child for the next 10 years.
That's crazy.
Now, her parole ended in 2005. So she's just out there like
living her life
on the Australian streets.
Living her fucking life.
And I'm sure she must have changed her name, because when you pull her up, you don't find anything relating to her past after she was convicted.
Yeah, no.
There's no way. You don't find anything.
Fuck her up
technically, she was like, I don't know what the age of, like when you're considered an adult in Australia, I don't know if she's 18, but when she committed the murder, she was 17.
17.
Yeah.
Okay. So technically she was a minor. She's not a minor. She wasn't a minor.
But that's the thing. I think that you're a minor at 17 years to a minor in Australia. I honestly don't know. I didn't look it up, to be honest. Because I know in a lot of places you're not considered a minor after the age of 16. It varies by country, obviously. Okay. But now, as far as Helen's parents, they went to say afterward that they didn't hate her. They didn't hate her, and that hating her wouldn't bring back their children. Mm-hmm. And that it has been their faith in God that has carried them through everything that they have encountered. Mm-hmm. And after Helen was convicted, and they really were trying to have more children, because John lost his children. Like, he lost his 2 sons. I mean, Helen still had her own children from her previous marriage, wow. And they just, they were really, I can't imagine.
I can't imagine. What the fuck? How do you get through that? Like, it's your child, but at the same time, she killed your child. So how do you get through that? I don't know. I wouldn't be okay, though. I'll tell you that much.
I remember there was an episode of Criminal Minds like that, when it was like, I think their youngest kid passed away, and it was later, like the team later ended up finding out that it was the oldest child that had like stuffed something down the baby's throat and had killed them or something like that. But
how do you get past that? Like, I don't know.
Con la ayuda de Dios.
De Dios, yeah.
And therapy.
Therapy. A lot of therapy. A lot. But
yeah,
that was crazy.
That's the case of Helen Patricia Moore.
Well, let us know what you think. If you'd like to follow us on Instagram, we are at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to share a podcast, review, rate, and you can listen to us on anywhere that you listen to podcast. Oh, I said that weird.
To podcast.
Podcast.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.